let's keep them flowing. Where do you come from? Where are you going? What are you feeling tonight? And what are you showing? Where do you come from? 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 Where are you going? What are you drinking tonight? Let's keep them flowing.
Hello and welcome to the Super PlayStation Bros. What's going on, everybody? I am Rudigs, joined by Doragon, and we together make the Super PlayStation Bros, here to give you all the PlayStation first news coming at you. And this week we got a lot going on, especially with the showcase right on our heels coming up this afternoon. Thanks everybody for coming in and joining us live. What's going on? FCAT, Wilson, Wibblesniff, Sanchez, MTZ Gaming, getting it done in COD. And we got What's New in Video Games. Kirk, what's going on? Thanks for stopping on by. And everybody else in VOD land watching on the content afterwards, hello to you as well. Now, enough of me talking. Yes, we do. We do. We appreciate you, even though you're not in the live chat, but you found the time to listen to us afterwards. Dorgon,
makes me happy.
What's been going on with you? What have you been playing this week?
Not a lot of PlayStation actually. Which sounds terrible for a PlayStation podcast. What I have been playing on PlayStation has been Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. I've had a really good time with that so far. I'm enjoying the platforming, I'm enjoying the combat, the story. It's all really, really strong. It's this sort of feeling I've been missing from the Ubisoft umbrella of games for a long while. I'm glad to have that back. But most of it's been spent on mobile. There is a reason for that. There's a video coming up on my channel around that one. So I've been putting a lot of time in on mobile. A little bit of remote play that way as well. So like super widescreen Prince of Persia was fun. But yeah, that's basically been the sum total of my PlayStation time. About 5 hours on Prince of Persia in the last week. So your section is going to be a lot more interesting.
Well, as you've seen on the channel, I put out a couple videos. I'm getting the hype train worked up for Helldivers 2. I cannot wait for that game to drop in about a week from now. We'll be a day away, so I think 8 days away. Going to be dropping in, and 2 days before that, we're going to have Foam Stars, and that's going to be free for all PS Plus subscribers, so that's awesome to see. But I've been playing personally Ghost of Tsushima, getting through Icky Island. I threw up a game stream of that the other day, just having fun, slashing through people. I have a myriad of powers now. I actually thought I was going to escape Icky Island, but then it evolved into more options, more story. So I'm not yet able to leave Icky Island. Someone pointed out, it's like, oh, you beat the game and you're already on DLC? No, I did not. They stuck the DLC.
You went off the beaten path.
Well, listen, this is how I play the game. I clear out all the question marks and options before I move up. I thought that's a good way to play, right?
The plus side is the way Iki Island was designed is that it doesn't matter if you do it the way you did it or if you do it the way the likes of myself, my partner, and other folks who've actually finished the game on like Wibblesniff did it after the main story. changes some of the dialogue options, changes some of what's said by Jin and the people on the island because of what you have done in game. So playing it at the point that you're playing it, it doesn't spoil the game at all. It's additional to it. It's additive if it comes after the credits roll. It doesn't matter. As soon as you can access it, it doesn't matter if you do it then or later. It fits wherever you play it, and that is, I think, very well designed DLC, especially something that comes halfway up the map that you're opening from bottom towards the top.
But yeah, that's how I've been playing. I look forward to seeing this extra dialogue, seeing what Jin's personality is like. Will I be drugged for the rest of the game and have this lady in my head? One could hope, because I do like her coming in and being like, "Oh, you're gonna die." It's like, yeah, what, lady, come at me.
I'm the ghost.
Exactly. All the armor sets I got the headband that covers one of your eyes, so it's like I beat you and I only got one eye. How about that? So there's a lot of fun to be had.
The great part about that one is, yes, you end up with one eye, but it's the left eye that's missing as well. And the Japanese voice of Jin is the same guy who voices Roronoa Zoro in One Piece, who only has one eye, and it's the left eye that's missing. Like that just felt meta to
That's
me,
a
that headband did.
that's a nod. Here is what I'll say about that. I was actually watching Wilson in the chat play Sekiro, and he was playing with English voice acting, and the game sounded so different to me. I'm used
Yeah.
to the Japanese voice acting with the English subtitles, and I feel like it conveys so much more emotion. I can feel so much more tonal energy. I feel more connected to the story. I don't know what it was. It was like the English voice acting butchered my first experience and run through. But yeah, it has that effect. I will want to switch to Japanese for Ghost of Tsushima with the English titles and see how it feels.
I've played both. They're both excellent. People like us, we can't really quote on if the Japanese is better. We don't speak Japanese. We haven't got a clue. They could be terrible for all we know. It's like that. I've seen a couple of Japanese folks say, "Oh, the English is so much better in X, Y, and Z." It's like, no, that person's awful. They're a terrible actor. They're just yelling down a microphone, sort of thing. So unless you know the nuance, unless you know the culture and that language, we can't say it's better. But I do like the immersion it offers. Like if you're in a Japanese setting, hearing Japanese voice is why I really like Tekken 8. Every character speaks their native tongue. They're all talking to one another. I don't know whether they've got some cool translation chips or something in their head,
Even
but
the
every single
bear?
character is, even the bear, yeah, they're all speaking their own languages and communicating with one another, and it's beautiful. It's such a multicultural cacophony of characters. It's brilliant. I absolutely love that. So I'm all for like native tongues going in there. I've been playing Prince of Persia with the native Persian a little bit as well. Don't get me wrong, I play it in English a lot more because it's just easier to comprehend and play through. But the Persian is also absolutely excellent. And I do like that a lot more games are starting to include these native tongues for native characters. It should be done.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. I think there's more authenticity, more immersion when you go down that path. And hey, I'd recommend giving it a try. But enough of our opinions. No one wants to hear that. They come for the PlayStation news, and we're about to get
No,
into
no,
it.
they're here for us. I mean, look at
They're
you,
here for
the
us.
Adonis to my right. Like
Oh, oh, look at this man
that's what they're here for.
right on this side here too. Huh? I saw that picture of Batman helping you with your cape. Huh? Mr. Performance over here. We got to get you in full cosplay one episode to celebrate.
This can be arranged. Yeah, we could do
Yeah.
full costume.
All right. Well, let's get into what's been happening this week in PlayStation. Of course, there is huge news about the showcase, and later on, we'll jump into our biggest predictions on what we think we'll be seeing. But first, let's jump into Final Fantasy VII almost being on 3 discs. Oh my gosh, do we still live in a world where games can be on multiple discs? I thought we would have been technology would have solved this issue.
The original was on 4 discs. we've already had 2 full games of the 7 remake, and Rebirth was going to be on 3 discs. All I think is they are remaking it correctly. It is a full modernization of it that you still have to swap discs partway through. Except you don't, because it just takes the data off the disc and installs it on the hard drive, and then you've got 1 disc to play from. But I think that's fantastic. That's very nostalgic for me. There's been very few games in more recent times that have done similar. So The Last of Us Part 2 did it on PlayStation 4. That was the last game that I can think of that came on more than 1 disc. But it just shows how much they're putting into this. And you notice it when you play a Final Fantasy game. It's all the little things, the textures, the things happening in the background, the animations and shaders and all this sort of stuff. And it makes me laugh. It makes me happy. It's a nice, silly little side note. But yeah, it's coming on 2 discs, not 3. But hey, it's still cool.
It is, but I guess it's that throwback nostalgia. But I honestly just thought technology would have fixed this. Just let me put it in 1 disc.
It depends on ambition as well. When you've got people like Toriyama, when you've got people like Kojima going and making games that are so expansive that they take many multiple years and many multiple discs to create. It's just the vision of what they're wanting to do. And as long as the final product works and is quality, I don't care. Like I say, most of the discs are installation anyway. You're just installing the data onto your hard drive or your SSD, and then you're putting the other disc into play, and that's perfect. And if you're buying digital anyway, it makes no difference to you whatsoever until they
No, it
turn all
does
the
not.
servers off.
Oh, and I get eventually axed. No, I saw. What did you say? 82% of games have been lost to time, because of our
Yeah,
digital transition to digital.
it's not even transition to digital, it's transition to new media, it's transition to new hardware that plays these games. But that hasn't happened in any other entertainment industry. But yeah, we're missing 82% of all video game content, and we've just added another one to the list in the last 2 days, which is one of the best military shooters that I've ever played personally, and that was Spec Ops: The Line. It was PlayStation
The
3, Xbox
line.
360 era title, and that has been removed from
Wow.
all digital storefronts in the past 2 days. So yeah, I'm gonna keep buying those discs because then I can keep playing those games.
Well, are you saying that it was recently removed? Because maybe we'll see a
Yesterday,
remaster.
it was removed yesterday because of music licensing. They can no
Music
longer sell the game.
licensing. Oh, probably because I use songs and that ran out over a certain amount of years. I could see that.
Well, can you imagine
Oh,
if that
well,
happened with something like, say, Star Wars or a Marvel movie? You couldn't watch the first Iron Man anymore because the licensing laws to the AC/DC tracks were no more. Like, there would be uproar. There would be pandemonium in the streets. Like, just pay,
yep.
get the licensing back. But companies don't want to do that because they're not selling loads of these things, or these aren't being watched and played loads. And it just sucks. Like, these are seminal, incredible games, and it's one of those games that I've always said everybody needs to play. It takes the whole wartime shooter vibe and really turns it on its head. It's a fantastic experience, but when they disappear on the regular and on a whim, it's definitely drives me to keep buying physical.
I agree. I mean, I wish more than anything I could go back, grab a digital copy of Def Jam Fight for New York that was on my PS2, but I know that will never happen because of such things like licensing for music in that game. It'll just never be a thing. So, unfortunately, um, you have to buy physical if you want to freeze yourself in time. And even today, they've made it harder by locking you out of your titles, even if you own the game. So. There's no
Yeah,
winning with these guys, Doragon.
there is winning, but it involves an eye patch and a plank.
Sanchez says digital games should be a lower price compared to physical because companies are saving money. I agree. I agree. We should be
It's
getting discounts
often the
on
other way around,
digital.
though.
I mean, are they not saving money not producing all of these cases, all the cover art, all the discs. I mean, they already abandoned instruction manuals. Yeah.
100% they are saving money by not producing all of this, by not having to pay for disc printing and burning and all that sort of stuff. 100%. But I've shown you multiple times that physical options are cheaper than the digital options. Brand new.
Yeah.
On launch day. And it's like, you're not giving us much incentive here, guys.
The only incentive they really do on the digital storefront is they give you their own currency back. It's kind of like a 5 to 10% return after you've purchased in their PlayStation coins to say, hey, come buy more stuff here.
Yeah, come spend more money. Yeah. Doesn't feel
Yep.
that rewarding, does it, really, when you have to spend more money to get the reward?
But let's get on to what everyone is excited to hear about, and that is the
Indeed.
next state of play. Oh my goodness. You know, what are we going to see? They released the state of play in good fashion, where it was a tweet, and then it was a comment on a tweet, and that was leaked. And Doragon, did we lose you? No? Let me check the level there. Microphone check on Dorgon.
I'm back.
There
I
we
have
go.
no idea what
There we
happened
go.
there. I could
Just a
still
little
see and hear
hiccup in the
everything, but I
matrix.
saw that the stream had frozen.
Maybe that was something on my end. But let's take a look at what we're going to expect on the next state of play coming up later today. But yeah, let's see. So everybody is expecting to see more of Stellar Blade coming out later this year. I think that for sure we'll see Stellar Blade, and from what I've seen, I think the combat looks great. But the one aspect I'm a little bit scared about is, will the exploration feel kind of slowish like Final Fantasy 16? I hope they're really able to add something to that, because I never really saw the exploration being showcased in the game. More just combat.
I think it's a very combat heavy game, looking at what we've had given to us in the past in terms of information and every bit of footage. It's very combat heavy. I think Stellar Blade is definitely going to be a combat first, combat foremost, maybe a little bit of traversal in between. The company that are making it, I don't know a huge amount about them, but from what I've heard, they tend to do fast-paced games. So I would hope when you're out of combat, it is also high-paced and fun to interact with, as we've seen with many games over the past few years. If your traversal is interesting, fun, and rewarding, people don't use fast travel. They don't need to use fast travel. And as the Final Fantasy directors have said, if you're putting fast travel in your game, you failed at the traversal design of your game. So I'm fingers crossed, it's good.
Shots fired. Shots fired. What do you mean? What if you want to get from one area to the other? There's so I mean, that's a little bit, of a tough statement.
Are you saying you have used fast travel in Spider-Man more than once to just marvel at how fast it was?
Okay. Well, that's different now, because I go and take pictures in Spider-Man. So I'm like, oh, I want to go over to this building right away and take pictures. But during the gameplay, no.
But yeah, during the gameplay, the traversal was so fun, you would not even consider interacting with fast travel. And that's the point. Your traversal should be so fun during gameplay that fast travel isn't even a thought on your mind. And I completely agree with that. There are too many games that have got automatic travel, fast travel, and all this sort of stuff. Like, get on your horse and your horse automatically takes you to the next quest marker, but it takes 5 minutes to get there. So you've got enough time to go make a cup of tea and get some biscuits to have whilst you're waiting for your horse to get there. I agree. If you're actively designing out traversal, it means your traversal's bad and you need to go back to the drawing board.
But here's a situation where fast travel should be an option, and that's why I do enjoy games like Grime, where they give you fast travel after you beat the game. It's the final unlock.
Yes.
Because sometimes you need to go back. In Forspoken, for instance, I want to go around and I want to go fight these bosses now that I've finished the game. Well, the best way for me to get there quickly is just to fast travel to the nearest spot. So I think it's a tough one, but I 100% understand. Your traversal should be absolutely fun. There should be no aspect that is boring. And if you're fast traveling from spot to spot because traversal is a headache, then you have failed in some aspects. So I can
Yes,
agree with that
100%.
point. But let's get on to something that you, I'm sure, are excited for, and that is a rumored PSVR 2 title, Metro, the series that we saw on Stadia. Well, at least that was my experience with it. Maybe making its way to PlayStation VR 2, called Metro Awakening, I believe is the rumored title of this one.
Those are the rumors, indeed. I'm a little disappointed that it's yet another first-person shooter VR title. Don't get me wrong, I realize it is a very easy thing to make and translate into VR because you're already in that viewpoint. You are the first-person viewpoint. But we have seen with games like Synapse that you can take that concept and make it incredibly interesting. We have seen with games like Hubris that you can enter this massive open world, massive open fantasy world, and engage in that in first person view. We've seen it with No Man's Sky, the fact that you were playing flat screen and I was playing VR. We could play together, and my experience was incredibly unique in comparison to yours. Like, there are ways to do that first person view with loads of different types of games. It just seems at the moment that a lot of what we're getting on PSVR 2 is first person shooters. Some of them are great, some of them are terrible, some of them are completely mediocre. I do like the few that I have, but I want more variation in experiences. I want more exclusives. I want more Call of the Wild type experiences, some that are just exploration, some that have strong stories. I I'm a little disappointed if this comes true, but I like the Metro series. Exodus was a bit squiffy, but I like the Metro series and I hope this does well because it would be a big IP on the PSVR 2 that might feel like a must play, and I think that would push more people towards it.
Absolutely. I think that PSVR 2 needs more AAA titles. I think this title will do wonders for it. It is rumored to be multi platform, it is rumored to be a big AAA title, and exciting studio behind it. And I hope it's not a Bulletstorm situation, but fingers crossed.
Yeah, we don't want another one of those, do we?
Now, I heard the same people making Metro had also made a previous game before it, some sort of demo, and it did go over very well and was critically received positively. So everything is pointing into great directions for this title. So, will we see it today? Chances are, quite maybe. Death
We'll
Stranding
find out in
2.
about six
Yeah.
6.5 hours, is it?
Yeah, 7 hours. Yeah, 6.5. You got it.
Yeah, mathematics. Who does that?
What's going on, Nads, Maker of Chaos, and Callie Drew Voss jumping into chat. Hope you all are doing fantastic, and everybody else out there. Thanks for jumping on in. Are we going to see Death Stranding 2? Is that going to be the case? I
We
think
know
that's
Death
a big
Stranding 2 is coming. We've
yeah.
already seen trailers for it and everything. They have just released a Death Stranding limited edition Backbone 1 controller for USB-C devices, which is chef's kiss beautiful. The only downside is it's only available in the US, so if you do want that one, get hold of that. I think we will see Death Stranding 2. I think we might hear about a release date. I would expect towards the end of the year. The last one launched either October or November 2019, I want to say. So I'd be very interested to see if this follows suit or if we're going to see it at a completely different point in the year. But yeah, I think we might be getting a release date for Death Stranding 2. Kojima has been bigging up the state of play on every social media that he has. I think that's going to be a big one for a lot of people.
I couldn't agree more. My only thing is, what is Kojima not doing? How is he developing two games simultaneously? This guy's freaking a busy
I'm pretty
dude.
sure he doesn't sleep. Pretty sure he's a
Yeah.
vampire or something.
Or he's a triplet and they just rotate and they have the same identity.
Like the Three Jokers.
Yeah. I'm just saying, if I
I
was a
like it.
triplet, I would do that.
Fair
We
play,
could be
fair
better
play.
as
You'd have to be
one.
identical triplets.
Yes. And not cut our hair. Will we see Until Dawn? The
This one sort
remaster.
of caught me off guard when we heard the rumors of this one. Like, I don't know whether it's going to be a remaster or a remake. There's talk of a PS5 version of it coming, and I was caught off guard because Until Dawn is completely playable. It was a PlayStation 4 title. It's still completely playable on PlayStation 5. In fact, I think it's on PlayStation Plus. So if you have extra or premium, it's readily accessible. And if you've been a Plus subscriber for a long time, you got it on Essential about 5 years ago. I was kind of shocked by this one, but remakes and remasters are doing numbers. Look at the Alan Wake remake, because Alan Wake 2 came out. These guys are going to have a new game coming out tail end of this year at October, because they always do. So why not put this back out there for people to experience before that? It could definitely look better. All of the characters are a little plasticine in the PS4 release, and a bit
Yeah.
waxy type thing, like they made at Madame Tussauds or something. But I was very caught, taken aback by this one. I did not expect it. They're not a studio who've done this sort of thing before. It doesn't bother me. I'm not going to go and play again personally, but I know there's a lot of love for that game, and there's a lot of people who have an annual replay of it for spooky season and Halloween and such. So
that's
who knows
fun.
on that one?
I could definitely see that. I mean, I was surprised to see the main actors. I've not heard of this game before because I lived under a rock when it came out. But absolutely, I think it's one of those novel ideas that just hit really well. Let's create a teenager in the cabin video game where you're making decisions. There's a butterfly effect mechanic where you go and these really have weight to your choices. So, hey, and what's his name? Rami Malek?
Rami
Is
Malek's in it,
also,
yeah.
yeah.
Anna Paquin's in
Wow.
it. There are some massive names in that game.
Yeah, it's
Anna,
impressive.
Anna Paquin. No, not Anna Paquin. It's Hayden Panettiere. She was in it after being in Heroes as well, so that was incredible. That one happened. But of course, we've seen it with a lot of people. Chris Judge is now Kratos. He was Teal'c in Stargate SG-1 for 12 years. Like these people who are household names, they're playing video games, they're acting in video games, and why not?
I love it. I love it. Bring more star power into the games, draws more people in. It's a good way to go. Now Concord. Now Concord surprised me because they're rumored to make a debut. It's going to be a multiplayer game, but the last showcase we saw almost nothing on the title, and yet this showcase we're going to get something and a release date. So they've kept it under wraps for me, and I'm ready to expect anything. Ready to expect it.
I think it's easy to keep things under wraps when nobody cares. And I know that is such a horrible thing to say, especially if the developers are hearing this. But a lot of people buy into the PlayStation ecosystem. They buy a PlayStation 4 or a PlayStation 5 for those amazing single-player experiences. When you're talking about the must-play games on PlayStation, you don't talk about multiplayer experiences. You're talking about your Uncharted, your God of Wars. You're talking about your Death Strandings. You're talking about your Ghost of Tsushimas and so on and so forth. It's all these exclusive single player excellent experiences that are the buy-in point. They are what make people want to be part of that ecosystem. And when you've got that ecosystem and then you're publishing a bunch of multiplayer games, because we had I can't remember the name of it, but basically the Payday ripoff one from Haven Studios and Concord, people don't care about it. But I do think that could also be a positive thing for the studio, because people aren't anticipating it, because they're not excited about this game. It has every opportunity to blow them away with a little bit of hands-on experience. So as long as it plays well, as long as those servers are solid and the gameplay loop is fun and rewarding and doesn't feel like a live service chore, because pretty much everybody is done with that as of right now, I think it could do pretty well for itself. It could definitely carve out a bit of a niche.
Hey, I hope the best for it. I think that it should rival a lot of these multiplayer games out there. I hope Concord delivers a great experience. We saw something unique out of the finals, so there's a bit of a high bar for it to compete with first-person shooters entering the arena these days. But I wish them the best, and I want to see what Sony has to offer with this ragtag group of developers, coming from, I believe it was
Yeah.
what, X Battlefield, X Call of Duty.
I believe it's some of the biggest talent in the industry for
Yeah.
first-person shooters. The ones who made the games that are still spoken about. The ones who created the likes of the Frostbite engine, where everything is destructible. Which the same sort of team that made the finals are making Concord. That they worked together when they were at I can't remember which studios they are, the likes of Treyarch and Co. who make those games. They all work together there, and now they're working together on different platforms, different experiences. So it definitely has all the possibilities to be great. We just need to see what comes of it, and we might be seeing from it in 6.5 hours. I might not. I might be asleep because of the time of day of this showcase. How dare they?
They're not great. I mean, the Game Awards wasn't geared towards English time. This is not geared towards English time. I don't know what they're doing with the timing. Next
It
next on the
it's
list we
weird, isn't
have,
it? Yeah.
yeah, like just make it earlier. But it's like you already have the video probably ready to go. You're just picking 5 for some reason. My time. Anyways, Judas. People looking forward to BioShock will be excited for this one. The Ken, I keep saying Ken Levine. He has not produced and made a game since 2014. And
Yep.
now we're getting the next sort of look. I mean, BioShock was a cult classic. It sold like gangbusters, I believe, over and over on console, on the next generation, and therefore after. So I could see this one really being another hit. I mean, the way it looks, the way it feels, the name of it, Judas, that has many implications on what the game could be, what kind of dynamic your character is going to be taking on. I think it will do very well. And it looks wacky too at the same time. It doesn't take itself too seriously. There's like a robot running around like this, and you go shoot him in the head.
It looks great. It looks. Oh, have I gone again?
No, you're still here.
Okay, cool.
Dorgon!
My brain went. Don't get me wrong on that one. It looks very Bioshocky. It looks like
Yeah,
the type of
Bioshocky.
game that we haven't had in a while, and I think that could be also a good thing. Sometimes things need space to breathe. The reason so many people got tired of the original formula of Assassin's Creed, for example, was we had 10 games in 11 years. That's too much. It's oversaturation. The reason people are tired of Call of Duty is we've had a game every year for at least the last decade and a half, and not a lot changes year on year. So sometimes giving either IPs or styles of games space to breathe before bringing them back breathes a lot of life into them. If you look at the Metroidvania sort of craze that we're getting now, there was a big period where we didn't get many Metroidvanias, and then we've had a bunch come out in the past 24 months, and they are all incredibly good, from the ones on Nintendo that sort of spawned it all with what's her name, Samus. I can't remember the series name. Ah, crap, never mind. We've just
Metroid.
Metroid. That's it. So the Metroid
Yes.
series, going back to a Metroidvania, they originated it, is why the series is called that. To what we've just had this last month with Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Like, I think it's good to give these things space to breathe. It does mean on occasion you then end up with an absolute raft of them all in one go, but we've not had anything that properly feels Bioshocky for a while. So I'm looking forward to this. I hope this is good. I hope it's a lot better than We Happy Few, because that was meant to be the Bioshocky feel, and it just whiffed for me. It missed on so many marks. So I've got my fingers crossed on this one. It is Ken Levine who was the mastermind behind Bioshock and a new development studio. We'll see what comes of it. I'm hopeful.
Well, that's all we can be is hopeful, right? I honestly think that it looks really polished. I think they are going to hit it out of the park. And like you said, this is a decent amount of time. 10-year break. People are going to want more of that Bioshock formula. It's not something that hits you every single year. So let's get into what we don't know, because that is a lot, guys. I know you expect us here on the panel to know absolutely everything about PlayStation, and you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But there are some things that we don't know. And that is some
Can
things
I
that
just
could hit
stop you
us.
for 1 sec? Because
Yeah.
we have Miss Phoenix going on a rant in the chat from the beginning of the show. She's
Okay.
obviously
Yes,
rewound it.
let's address Phoenix then, yes.
I just wanted to put it because you'll get to this point like further down the line, and it's like we haven't missed you, we haven't been ignoring you or anybody else in chat. It's just Miss Phoenix is a million miles behind where we are, a good half hour or so behind where we are. So I'm glad you agree with our points.
They're barely deals. There are deals. You got to buy the games at the right time. Like Black Friday, huge discounts I was able to jump onto. But I will say I haven't gotten anything since that time. But let's jump into what we won't expect. What are some of your predictions? What are some of my predictions? I'm thinking Spider-Man 2 New Game Plus and DLC. Fingers crossed. That's
Definitely
my big
possible.
hope.
I would expect an announcement of New Game Plus. I think that would be a very quick one, when they do like the changeover title cards. Oh, and New Game Plus is coming to Spider-Man. Moving on. It would be that quick if that's all it is. I don't think we'll get DLC announced yet. I think we'll have similar to what we had with God of War Ragnarok for DLC for Spider-Man 2, and it'll get announced the month it's launching, which will be quite a bit further down the line, I feel. Um, my I don't know what my prediction would be. I want to see 4 PSVR 2 titles. That would be, considering we're getting 15 games that are going to be shown off and announced and given release dates and all that sort of stuff. I want to see 4 PlayStation VR 2 games, and I want one of them to be exclusive. I want it to be from a PlayStation Studios or a third party that's making it exclusive for PlayStation, that's got huge amounts of experience in VR. And I think that would be a huge hype moment for the showcase, for the state of play. And I would love to say we'll hear about a new exclusive from one of the PlayStation studios, but this is a state of play. This isn't a showcase, and it's the
No.
mid-year showcases where we hear about the heavy hitters, the big ones, the ones that make people buy the consoles. So Days Gone 2, I'm sorry, Sanchez, that's never happening. That will never happen in a million years. Sony have already said that one. So
Ben
put those
Studio's
dreams to
already
bed
doing
and
something else, right?
save yourself the heartache. Put that wish to bed. But I don't think we're going to see anything from the PlayStation Studios in terms of new stuff. I think we might see partnership exclusive, so maybe a Square Enix exclusive coming, because I think we heard about Forspoken initially at a State of Play. I would be very interested to see a couple of more third-party exclusives. But yeah, for me, I would love to see 4 VR 2 titles. I think that would really make a good State of Play for me.
And give me Lost Soul already. I mean, that game looks so cool. I just want to play it.
Yeah, it does.
It looks freaking epic. Hopefully we'll have a release date this year. Well,
Well, fingers crossed.
that was a large prediction. I need to get myself refocused off of that. Some other things I think we'll see. Rise of the Ronin is a big shout out. Perhaps we'll see some small things, like you said, some small clips for Foam Stars or Helldivers 2, as they're on the way, as well as Final Fantasy. We may see a small preview for that. But yeah, let's move on. Everybody, this is Dorgon wanted to do an exclusive takeaway where he did a deep dive into Vladimir Guerrero Jr. So I'm gonna let you take this. No, I'm joking. That was the title head for the MLB The Show. That's all I know about this. If you're a big baseball fan, obviously he is sporting the Toronto Blue Jays helmet. I just noticed that right now. Yes. So he
I'm glad you knew
probably
what that was.
that's the local team. So I guess I should know who that is. But cool to see Toronto represent. Go Canada, Team Canada. Get yourself on the front of the MLB. The thing
My
that I did want.
experience and my knowledge was man hit ball with stick. That is
Oh,
my knowledge on baseball.
the thing is, he's got these the little Canadian flag there. See, they're showing it. They're showing it off. Uh,
Okay, touche, touche.
the big
I
thing
panicked when you
here,
said this guy's name, by the way. I had no idea what you were on about.
Vladimir Guerrero.
Yeah,
Well,
I was like, who?
this is an odd case in gaming because it's more about what is happening with the game and developed by Sony. However, it's coming onto Game Pass, which means it'll be part of a Game Pass subscription, but it's not going to be part of the PS Plus subscription. This is kind of a noodle scratcher, and you're wondering why they would do something like this. Dorgun, what are your thoughts? Do you think people would jump ship to jump onto Game Pass to play baseball and subscribe there? Or are they gonna still continue to purchase it on Sony? Or is this just opening the doors? It's a noodle
I
scratcher.
seriously doubt it's going to change anything. There's been a lot of studies, a lot of things that have been said recently that have come out of platform holders like Sony, that have come out of university studies. And the two that sort of make me look at this and think about what's going on here is 98% of gamers don't pay attention to podcasts like this. They don't pay attention to the news. They don't watch state of plays. 98% of gamers don't give a damn about any of this. They will just look on the shelf in a store and buy a game based on the cover. That is how so many gamers buy a game, or they will look on the store on their console and buy a game based on the cover. That is how most people shop for their titles. We are a serious minority. What that means is most people don't care about other platforms. If they've got a PlayStation at home, they don't even think about Xbox or Switch because it doesn't exist for them. They don't care because they can't access it. Why should they care? And it means that they're not going to jump across to something like Xbox Game Pass to pick up Major League Baseball The Show if that is a game that they are very interested in. And when people only play one game at a time, again, this is straight out of Sony, most players only play one game at a time. And I can believe that because it's the way I prefer to play. It's not the way I end up playing with making content around
I as well.
video games on the internet. But I play one game at a time and I complete that game and thoroughly enjoy myself, get fully immersed in it. But if most people are doing that, a game going onto a subscription service is not a good thing because the average gamer, so those guys who are just buying it based on the cover, they only get to play between 6 and 9 hours per week. That's out of the University of possibly Minnesota, I want to say. That was their study that they did recently. Like the average gamer plays between 6 and 9 hours per week. That's less than an hour a day at the lower end. So you're probably better off buying a game outright and playing it whenever you've got the time to play it. Because if you're paying a subscription service, bear in mind something like Game Pass Ultimate, which is what this is going to go on to. And if you've only got a PlayStation, you would need to buy to play on another screen to play this via Game Pass Ultimate. It's £13 a month. Your gameplay is locked to that service. You lose access to the game and the save data if you stop paying for that service. And to play it for the 12 months between its launch and the next iteration launching, you're paying double the price of the game for just to play that one title. It makes no sense. Like these going on to subscription services for the 1 to 2% of top tier gamers can make a bit of sense, but for the rest of us, for the rest of the gamers, makes zero sense whatsoever. We'll just go buy it and play it whenever we fancy. And what that means for Sony, we know people pay between sort of 40 and 300 million dollars to get these games on these subscription services. It's what PlayStation have paid to have games on there. It's what Xbox have paid to have games on there. If Xbox have paid 1 to 300 million for Major League Baseball the show to go on Game Pass, that's development costs paid back and then some. Hell yeah, put it on Game Pass. We'll just make the next one even better.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer from a business perspective, and for most players, it's going to mean absolutely nothing.
Well, if you are a gamer out there, feel free to share this to another gamer friend and keep them informed in the loop. Because the more informed you are, the better decisions you make. And perhaps you'll save some money just by listening to this podcast and getting a game somewhere else. But let's jump into the next one.
Again, pause.
Oh, yep.
Welcome to the future, Miss Phoenix. Hi.
Yes, hello, Phoenix. Welcome.
Funny. Anyhow, what were you saying?
What was I saying? Share of the week. So everybody who is snapping those pictures in the PS5, I will say PS5 has some of the best photo mode options. Easy to share, easy to load up onto your computer, and always at high fidelity. So gotta appreciate the PS share options and their social interactions that you can make in video games. These photo modes are outstanding. And what we see in The Last of Us Part 2 remake is they're doing a community spotlight. So you can share your pictures directly with Naughty Dog on their Twitter, on their Instagram, on their webpage directly, and they'll run a little spotlight. So I wanted to show these pictures, but at the same time ask you if you have popped into any more Last of Us Part 2 No Return. Maybe the answer is
So
no.
as I said at the start of the show,
Yeah.
no. I've been gaming on this a lot this week. Not so much on that beautiful console that sits downstairs. So no. I think I've put about 5 hours total into the PlayStation in the last week. So no, I've not yet jumped into it, but I kind of like that. I'm enjoying my time with games a bit more. I was rushing through so many at one point, and it was because Sony were releasing an absolute shed load of high quality, excellent titles that I really wanted to play. And there's nothing currently on my personal radar until Rise of the Ronin in March. So that means I've got the remainder of January and the whole of February to play the games that launched in January. So I can complete Prince of Persia. I can move over to The Last of Us Part 2. I can play No Return and enjoy it at my pace. And I'm liking playing that way at the moment. So fingers crossed it can remain that way, but we'll find out from the state of play tonight, won't we? Where I'm probably going to end up broke.
We'll see what's available. I hope something drops for us PlayStation gamers, like a new game plus for Spider-Man 2. But one can hope. This picture is absolutely outstanding, I will say. What a vertical. I mean, it just looks ultra realistic. Like, how can you make the game look like that? Jeez, some people are
a lot of time, a lot of effort.
Beyond talented. The 3-point lighting system in the game really is a feat of brilliance in itself and allows you to create some awesome pictures. So don't forget to check this one out. And No Return is also a lot of fun. I've been getting into it. I have not made it to the Rat King. Is the Rat King? Is that
the Rat
big
King?
monster?
I believe that's the big boss. It's the big, like, conglomerated, infected boss thing.
Mushroom monster. But I have not yet made my way through to a Rat King. However, it's tough to make it all the way through. I've gotten through about 4 or 5 stages before coming to my end. But it is a good bit of fun and more continuation of Last of Us if you enjoy that gameplay.
Definitely. And hey, get a photo share out. Why not have a go?
Exactly. Trying to get Dorgon to show some of his pictures. He's been posting them. They're good. That Ghost of Tsushima mask. That was a nice one.
That's literally just a cutscene where I hit share because I wanted it for a thumbnail.
Critics' Choice promotion comes to PlayStation Store. So everybody unsure of what to buy in the store, or you're afraid of the digital store, now you have people pointing you in the direction you should be buying things. This is obviously more of a marketing promotion, but we do have some sales, and one that I wanted to point out here. If you did not play Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon and you are a fan of From Software, you're a fan of Sekiro, this game is 100% worth it. Amazing title. I played it all the way through and never put anything on in that time. It's absolutely outstanding, and you don't see From Software put a lot of sales on their titles. So just wanted to point this one out here. And then there's a huge list. You got all the ACs. You got all the Bs, the Cs, the Ds. Any Dark Souls? Dark Souls as
I
well?
love how you said all the ACs, because I was watching Yahtzee, who used to be part of Zero Punctuation. He's now part of Fully Ramblematic, his own thing. And he was saying, it's like, what's with games starting with AC or being shortened to AC? You've got Animal Crossing, you've got Armored Core, you've got Assassin's Creed. And he ran through about 12 different series that all start AC. So you just saying, oh, you've got all the ACs. Like, that can be every,
That's
every single
hilarious.
series under the sun.
Very on topic. I belong to Pow World now. Well, Miss Phoenix, at least you have something to do, because I heard somebody in the house belongs to Tekken now.
I am contemplating Tekken, because you can now pick it up here in the UK if you buy it from a very particular seller on eBay with a code. It's brand new, it's sealed, it's a physical copy, but you can pick up this just launched game for £41. That's 29 quid off of recommended retail price. So if you are looking at Tekken 8 and you want to get in soonish, £41 on eBay. I will try and find the link. I'll stick it in the Discord, which you can find in chat in the description if you're watching this on VOD, so people can go and try and buy that. I believe it's a UK only thing, unfortunately, but that is a huge discount for a just released title.
So, those looking to save some money on the PlayStation Store, now is your chance. As Miss Phoenix said, there are no sales, but there are some sales. So, take a look at the Critics' Choice promotions. You can also get FC for 65% off, which is huge. Their first iteration on their soccer game.
Hang on, are we talking FC as in football club, FC as in Far Cry? We've got the same problem with FC as we've got with AC.
Yeah, this is the football club, the first iteration of their soccer game. But those looking have their eyes set on a brand new game. Rocksteady has released their long anticipated Suicide Squad. However, the review from Push Square says it may not be worth it. Are we seeing more symptoms of live service games just falling a little flat, or perhaps these reviewers were just a little bit jagged because I heard they didn't get a review copy?
Nobody got a review copy. Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League is in a very weird position. It is in early access right now. So to play that game as a standard consumer like you or I, you have to have paid $100 to Rocksteady to be able to play that game right now. So there are people streaming it all across Twitch and YouTube and such. They've paid $100 or £100 to be able to play that game now. It doesn't launch officially until Friday. It's 2 more days until that's out for the rest of the world. And there are no reviews. Nobody anywhere has any form of review up about this game. The most you are getting is early impressions, because Rocksteady didn't turn the servers on. They didn't allow people to play together. They didn't turn the game on to let people play it pre-release, even though they're giving codes to folks. And we're in a position where this game is coming out and nobody's finished it. Nobody's putting reviews out for it. So what people are experiencing at the moment is you've got publications like Push Square, you've got publications like IGN, you've got publications like GameSpot and Co. And they're all putting out their first impressions. And their first impressions, I think personally, are probably a lot more important because you as a consumer, you're going to have to put your own money down. You're not putting a company's money down on something and then able to just slog through something to get to the good bits. You've got to put your money down and then see if it's worthwhile. And if in the first 3 hours, which is what Push Square have played, they don't feel like it might be worth it, so many other consumers are going to quit at that point. If the game isn't engaging, if there's problems with the game in that first 3 hours, that it's not bringing people in, it's not going to be good enough. And I understand exactly what they're saying, that they like the story, which is what I felt from the closed beta. The story felt like Rocksteady. It felt like the Arkham series. It felt really good in that regard. They like the voice acting, the cutscenes, all these things relating to the story. But when it comes to gameplay, that gameplay is as generic as it comes, and you're still getting pop-up tutorials 3 hours into the game. That would annoy me. And I like superhero experiences. I love the DC universe. I love the Arkhamverse. I have seen some stuff about this game. I've seen some cutscenes, and I don't think this one is for me. The gameplay is completely unintuitive for the world that you're playing in. It doesn't fit these characters, and it's so generic and boring that I think I would be turned off before I get to the parts that I actually wanted to see. So I just went and watched them on YouTube and was still very disappointed about what happened. It's a weird one, this game. It keeps standing on a rake every which way it turns and just slapping itself in the face, Tom and Jerry style.
Well, slapping its face on a rake. That's the Suicide Squad review from Doragon. Hey, it's coming out at a tough time where Marvel Avengers fell flat. We have Gotham Knights not really hitting that right note, and now Suicide Squad kind of following that same vein. But hey, Rocksteady, maybe they'll pull it around, maybe they'll launch updates. You can't put anything past them. They did develop a great set of Batman games. So I will give them the benefit that they may be able to turn this one around. But one thing you said reminded me, because I played the closed beta for this game, and the world did not fit the play style of the characters. And that is something I felt when I was playing the closed beta, because it was asking me to do all this stuff in the air, be in the air, do aerial stuff. Like, none of these people fly. And it was just, it seemed taxing to me, and I was having to make these huge jumps across mass distances. And it's like, why is this even part of the game? Like, you should be on the ground, you should be driving, if anything. Like, there should be more human ways of traversing. But I digress. Let's jump into the final story for today before we wrap it up. And I say final story, and there may be a sneaky story at the end. This is a funny one I found. Tanita's $460 PS4 virtual on twin stick controller is going back into production. So if you were wondering, hey, can I own this? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And you'd be silly, but you would be the owner of it.
Would they be silly though? Like, if
Yes,
you
they would.
are a fan of games that need this sort of thing, if you're a fan of twin stick games, this is going to give you a lot more fidelity and a lot more control than just the thumbsticks on a standard controller. You've seen it yourself. We all thought like $220 for, or $300 odd dollars in Canadians for the DualSense Edge was a ridiculous ask, and you wouldn't go back. You would not swap that for the world. If this is the sort of game that you play and the sort of input that you use on a regular basis, surely that's worthwhile to have a more fun experience.
Well, I mean, damn it, you're right with your facts.
You're coming in with facts.
Yeah, I guess, hey, if you're into those games and this is gonna get you that much more honed in, that much more of an enjoyable experience, I mean, it must feel cool to operate that controller. But like, what are you doing with your other hands? Like, you only have two hands, so they're both going on the joystick controllers. What are the other buttons for, anyways? It, it, it
It's like
must be
any twin stick
crazy.
shooter. If you're moving the sticks with your
Yeah,
thumbs, oh, how am I reaching these other buttons? You've got to take your thumbs off to reach the face
I
buttons. They've
guess.
got
I
triggers
guess.
on the joystick, so you've got your L2 and R2 there. It'll have buttons on the side like the Sense controllers. It will have been well designed, this particular one. It was incredible when it first came out. The update for PlayStation Now seems fantastic. I think it'll do grand. I think it'll. It's a niche market. Do not get me wrong. This is not a huge market, but the market that they're selling to are people who really want this sort of thing, and I think it's going to do wonders for them.
Well, all the power to it. I loved it when I saw it. What a cool looking controller. It's a lot of fun. But we will be looking forward to what goes down on the showcase. Try to hit you up with a reaction, so be sure to check out Super PlayStation Bros tomorrow. Oh yeah, finally, there was a launch trailer. Of course, I told you there'd be a secret last news story. This little monkey taking a poop, which no Wilson, that does not relate to you, is on a journey with him in his toilet. Um, it kind of reminds me of Lethal Company, because it seems like you're an astronaut, you go collect things, and then you go bring it back. Uh, it looks fun. It looks enjoyable. It looks like a grand scale. Hey, I love it. I love these little indies coming out and providing sort of that epic experience. Um, it gives
Yeah,
me a
it's got that
Terraria
sort of
vibe too. Yeah,
Terraria, Cuphead, that sort of side scroller bullet hell type game.
yeah.
Just with a load of comedy thrown in. I think this looks stupidly good fun, and we need more games that are just fun. So yeah, I like that. I like that this exists. I like that it's now out and available for purchase on PlayStation. I hope it does great.
Well, that about reaches us at the end of our news for this week. Of course, we'll be at you with the Super PlayStation Bros review of the State of Play. And don't forget to miss the State of Play if you're looking forward to it. That'll be at 5 p.m. Eastern today. But Dorgon, what's going on your channel? What can people look out for?
They can look out for an upcoming video. I got sent something through the post. I'll give you just a sneak peek of it there. So I've got to get a review out for that one within a short time. That's why I've been gaming on mobile a lot recently. So something slightly different for the channel. And then I've got a couple of scripts in the works thereafter to put footage to, but that they'll be coming soon, hopefully within the next week or two. So subscribe, like, watch the other stuff that's already there. That'd be grand. Cheers. What about yourself, my man? I know you've been putting out a lot of content this week.
Oh, look at me go. I got a fire lit under my butt, and I was able to pump out a couple videos this week. So if you're looking forward to Helldivers like I am, be sure to check out the 10 must-know facts. And I'll give you a hint. There is a ton more than 10 in there. So check out the video, learn about Helldivers, get pumped about it, as well as what are you looking to expect on the State of Play. I put out a little video with some trailers on some games that I thought we will be seeing in the State of Play later today. So be sure to check that out, as well as Family Game Night is happening tonight at 10 p.m. So I will be hanging out with the Rudiglets the day before their birthday. Oh my god, they're getting so old. They turn freaking 17 tomorrow. Yeah,
You can
even him
say
is saying
nothing,
wow.
Mr. Mid-30s.
But that's what we got going on. Let's spin the wheel for today's draw. Let's see who's the big winner and get you into the winner's circle. Thanks everybody for coming and hanging out with the Super PlayStation Bros. Of course, you can catch us. Oh, is it gonna be Ray or FCat? Oh, it's FCat. Can GG's FCat. Of course, you can catch us
Congrats, FCat,
next
well
week.
done.
At the same time, we will be doing the big draw for the winner's circle and giving away the game there on stream. And other than that, be kind to bring peace into the world.
Till next time, guys. Take care.
And I'm going to roll the brand new credits.
New credits.
Grove. 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 Why try to believe in me? Why try do I even need to? I die with the season leaves. I glide with the season breeze. True, my mind so easily spooked. I ride just to be the me who finds hype super decently smooth. Nice type, but as sick as beats. Groove, 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 groove. Girl, I go to bacon. Think of mine's what she's faking. Sick of I'm no mistaken. End of conversation. 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 Wanna cut a pussy in a box up. Gonna get some pussy in a hot